What is a city? It's an inhabited area and a unique geographical space. It's a place for learning, for commuting, from work and to school, to home. It's a place for eating. It's a place for playing, for the young and for the old. It's where we belong, where we can celebrate who we are, how we are different, and how our differences make us stronger as a whole.
All right, dancers, come and dance. Everybody, intertribal and powwow time here at Berkeley. Everybody, all the way around the circle. Come on out and dance.
Here we're at the downtown Berkeley bar station, which is one of the busiest bar stations in the East Bay. And BART serves as a really great alternative to driving for people who want to get basically anywhere in the East Bay or San Francisco. It carries about 400,000 riders per day, which is about the same size as the population of Oakland. And basically it's sort of the core of the Bay Area's transit infrastructure. This is where everybody who's not taking cars gets on and off BART, pretty much. We have all the buses stopping here because that's, people that are not driving, they have to take the bus, they have to walk, and they have to bike as well. And so that's where we have this beautiful intersection of, BART plus buses plus biking plus the university here, City Hall a block away, all the big offices and the hotels are right around here where the transit is where people aren't driving. So we're here in the Berkeley Theater District, which is sort of like Berkeley's center of arts and culture, which is one of the other really cool things about cities. Not only do you have more efficient use of resources, you also have new ideas, people coming together. With a city, you achieve a scale you couldn't otherwise reach of sort of these different ideas and people coming together and creating new things. And you also get a lot of reuse. So the Freight and Salvage here is like a concert band hall, but clearly the building was originally some sort of car parking garage, maintenance factory or whatever. And so it's been repurposed over time to serve this new use. Cities can really recycle their existing buildings and existing building stock for new purposes, and that's one of the things that makes them more sustainable. So a green roof is basically when you put dirt and plants on top of a regular roof. But basically the idea of a green roof is to help collect rainwater, stormwater, prevent runoff, and sort of create a sort of mini garden in the middle of an urban area. So you have plants and insects and birds able to come through and find sort of their own little niche inside of an otherwise very urban area. But basically the California and City of Berkeley planning and building and zoning laws make it difficult to build green roofs. So for example, the city wanted to encourage them to have more subsidies for that. But it's really not necessarily green roofs aren't always the best situation. It's sort of a trade-off. Do you want a green roof? Do you want solar power on your roof? Do you want solar thermal water heating on your roof? Do you want a light-colored roof to reflect things? And it's sort of all part of the urban ecosystem where you have diversity all over the place. So this is Alston. We are standing on permeable pavement. So this street isn't a normal asphalt road. It's bricks with some space between them, on top of gravel, on top of dirt. And it was specially designed to allow rainwater to penetrate between the bricks into the soil instead of running off into the storm drains. This is a huge amount of surface area for the amount of rain we get. We could have probably built this road with just permeable pavement along the edges of the road, or just the middle, or even just at the corners by the storm drains, and that probably would have helped a lot with the runoff with that and saving the city a lot of money. So this is the David Brower Center. It's a LEED Platinum office building in downtown Berkeley with ground level retail. There's a restaurant right here. LEED Platinum. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a building rating system and sort of rates buildings by how environmentally sustainable they are. They get points for having bike parking, solar power, water conservation, and lots of open space and daylighting. And so Platinum is the highest rating you can get with the LEED system. And so this is a really sustainable building. I think it's just a really cool window design so that those shades can adjust depending on the time of year and help block out sunlight or let sunlight in depending on how the building's doing. One of the interesting things I wanted to point out about the building is that while it's LEED Platinum has this really sustainable building, the solar panels are hanging off the edge because one of the requirements is they have a certain amount of solar generation, and in order to reach that amount of solar power in Berkeley, it had to maximize the amount of open space and maximize the amount of solar power it can generate. And that's a real challenge for building in Berkeley. Berkeley is not an ideal place for solar. It's a good place for solar, but not ideal. And so having sort of a very energy efficient and high energy producing building at the same time is really challenging.
Net zero energy building. So at its bare minimum, a net zero energy building is going to be a building that produces more energy, whether it be from solar, wind, or any other renewable energy, than it takes in or uses. For the competition's sake, we're trying to be as net positive as possible, so produce much more energy than we end up using. Now, I don't think sustainability necessarily hinges on technologies, as we all really like to think. A lot of the big companies, corporations try to sell us on their technology that's going to change the way we live. What it ends up coming down to is a design perspective, thinking about the entire life cycle of your building, what its end use is going to be, where all of its materials are being sourced from, and how it's really going to interact with where it's going to be set. Once you figure all of that out, then you can start incorporating technologies that are really going to make it a sustainable bank. But you first have to design it right.
Every corporation has a balance sheet, and every CEO manages the balance sheet to grow the balance sheet, to create more equity. But on the other hand, there's another balance sheet that we all ignore. That is the balance sheet of the earth. The balance sheet of the earth is extremely critical because most companies are growing the balance sheet at the expense of the earth's balance sheet. Because leaders need to know that the world is looking at them, looking at the policies, and the leadership of the world has to rise up and be accountable to the people living on the planet. So the CEO of the earth is all of us, the combined voice, and abundance is not the key. But that's what we teach in our business schools. Create more wealth, create more food. Unfortunately, we create a lot of that, and 30% of our food in America is wasted. We throw it away when the rest of the world is starving because there's no balance.
The idea was, look, we have these basic needs in our community that are not being provided for, namely affordable, sustainable, healthy food. And we need to figure out a way that we as students can provide an alternative by students for students, and by extension, by the community for the community. At the Food Collective, we're working with the Student Organic Garden and the Gill Track Community Farm, two pieces of UC property that are working very diligently with urban agriculture in order to see what kind of alternative food systems we can make. I think a sustainable city has some type of investment from everyone in the community. You can't really do a sustainable city unless you have buy-in from folks. So not only does there have to be some kind of incentive for people to take part in the community, but to make sure that the work that goes into creating collectively a sustainable city actually does benefit the people that are putting in that investment, whether that's a capital investment or a labor investment. People need to feel like they can contribute, and the city is going to provide back for them. It's going to take care of them in a way. I just think it's important because at the end of the day, everybody eats. And so if we don't have food down as a sustainable piece, as a morally sound piece, of a socially cohesive piece, it becomes very hard to do anything else with any of the values that we want to do. I wouldn't be living in Berkeley unless I saw in it the potential for a truly sustainable city.
So, what makes a sustainable city? We'll let you decide.